tackle class.
I think they really need on the defensive tackle class a big guy who is a.
Okay, so we are on Restream now. You can see the draft here. You can see Trey Benson, Chris Abrams, Drain. Tavian Sanders is still there. I am going to trade up. Who the hell is on the clock here? I mean, this thing is going so fast. The Ravens are on the clock. Okay. Because Jatavian Sanders has no business still being on the board this late in the draft. The Patriots do need a tight end, so I am going to move up. I will give up 68 and a second next year for 61. And I'm going to be taking Jatavian Sanders, tight end Texas for the Patriots. I might be making another trade here. I'm going to be trading the Lions my first round pick next year for Roman Wilson. The Lions traded the Bears before even giving me a chance to fuck you, Lions. I guess we're giving Brett Veach a first round pick for 50. Because I said I was going to load. Wait, I have a second round pick from the Saints I forgot about. So, yes, I will give that up, and then I'll give up these 2 7ths, and I'll give up 175 for 63. I don't know if this will go through. Okay, that's not going to go through, but I was willing to give up quite a bit. Roman Wilson was the player I was going to take. So, yeah, it's like I am trying to stockpile the Patriots with talent. Patriots draft, I got Drake May, Jordan Morgan at left tackle, Jatavian Sanders at tight end, and Xavier Legette at receiver. And you were up at 73, so that was. I told you I was going to.
I'm going to try to further solidify the Falcons defense here. If there, Michael Hall,
he is there, and great pickup for the Falcons here. And the screen turned off again. It says live with Restream. I'll edit the name of this draft thing. But yeah, I'll edit this after. We're just going live on Restream. I don't really like Zach Frazier to the Packers. The Colts are up. Best player on the board is Rook or Horo, D-tackle Clemson. Tommy Eichenberg is also there if you want a linebacker. Devondre Sweat is also there if you want a defensive tackle. You got here if you're the Colts.
To recap for the audience, I've got Cooper DeJean, cornerback Iowa, and defensive tackle, and Finley Jackson, defensive tackle, Texas A&M.
Yep.
And there are a few guys I like that are still on the board here. Who are the guys you named?
Rook or Horo.
My board on this may look different than your board, so I just want to try to
Yep.
see if we can.
Yeah. I agree. I'm seeing. Okay, so yeah. All right, so we got the title edited. So that's going. Or Rook or Horo, Eichenberg, Bucky Irving, Chris as well.
Yeah, because Sweat is on
Sweat's available.
my board. On my board, he's gone, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Sweat in this situation. And we're going to give the Colts 2 defensive tackles to try to complete that defense and cause disruption for those linebackers right here.
Yep. Best player on the board is Rook or Horo. The Browns take James Williams from Miami. I'm looking for the right player for Pittsburgh. Right player for New England and New Orleans as well. Is there even a quarterback I could pick to groom behind Carr? Or I don't even have to go the quarterback. Who is up next? Spencer Rattler's a Lion. Conkey's a Texan and Cam Wender replacing Set. Panther to start round 4. Ambassador is a 49er. And I am a lock at pick 99. Okay.
Is Van Dyke there?
I'm the Patriots. I was for the Saints, but looking at my Patriots draft, I got Drake May at quarterback, Jordan Morgan at left tackle, Jatavian Sanders at tight end, and Xavier Legette is my number 1 receiver. That is a very strong draft so far. I mean, I'm not saying well, we're going to get Blake Corum, running back Michigan. He's still there in the 4th round. We're going to add another piece. That way we don't have to pay Ramondre Stevenson when his contract is up. And we add another piece to this offense. And I think that's been the strategy, is reload through offense and try to trade for pieces. You are up at 106, though. Can I get Howie Roseman to trade me his pick? I'm looking to see what I could get here. No, he's taking Jalen McMillan. Jalen McMillan, wide receiver, product of Howie Rose, is the official pick for Philadelphia. Jalen Polk is the number 1 player on the board. Braylon Allen's 2. Benson Oates 3rd. Edgerrin Cooper, Texas A&M. Audric Estime is on the board. Mekhi Wingo, LSU defensive tackle, also still there.
Okay. Is that Frazier still there?
No. Packers took him at the beginning of the 3rd round.
Damn. He was in a good issue.
Zach Zinter is there, but that's it.
So far for the Falcons, we've taken Jeremiah Trotter Jr., James Daniels,
and Michael Hall Jr. Yep.
Linebacker, quarterback, defensive tackle.
Yep. I mean,
so I'm looking at they do need in field position. I'm going to go with a guy who maybe a little onto the right here.
Let's see if he's there. No, he's not. Let's see who took him. Let's see who took Will Shepard. The Ravens took him. The freaking Ravens. Second on Eric DeCosta's draft. And they took him with the pick they got from the Raiders in the Michaels trade. And the Ravens have Quinion Mitchell, Toledo, Chris Jenkins, Michigan, Will Shepard, Vanderbilt, and Cedric Gray, North Carolina, middle linebacker. That's the Ravens. So the Ravens have had a good draft so far. Eric DeCosta's been killing it in the simulator.
Where's left on your end? And most of the guys on my end are already
Polk,
gone.
Devontae Walker. I think Torrey Horton might be there. I'm double checking to make sure if he is. Horton might be gone as well. Oh yeah, the Cardinals took Torrey Horton at 100 right after I took Corum. So the Cardinals punished me, and that's a player I would have traded at pick 4. I would have traded a ton of picks to get Horton. So yeah. So I'm gonna have to rely on Jude, Parker, and Douglas to complement Leggett as my number 1. Yeah.
What, are you on your pick?
No, we're on. No, I'm
the guy I want.
the guy I wanted. I figured the guy I wanted would be available for you to pick. He's not. Cardinals took Torrey Horton, who was my top receiver available. Jacob Cowing is there. Brendan Rice is there. Kari Franklin is there. There's some players that are there. What exactly are you looking? What positions are you looking at?
I'm really looking at the offensive line more than anything.
Zach Zinner, Michigan guard, is there. You could get him. I mean, the Falcons have stability at right guard, and they drafted Bergeron at left guard. I mean, he'd be a backup guard for you if you picked Zinner. Zaxton Powers Johnson and Bryce Foster are both there. The Oregon Texas that we met last week's podcast, they're both of. Drew Dahlman does enter the final year of his rookie deal next season at center. I do think the Falcons are going to end up cutting Caleb McGarry. He looked awful against in week 10. He looked awful against the Cardinals. B.J. Ojulari was serving up the Cardinals. B.J. Ojulari, the Cardinals' second-round pick, was serving Atlanta's right tackle.
What about the Yale offensive tackle?
He got picked last round. He got picked by the 49ers. At least Howie Roseman didn't take him. That's one positive we can say.
Yeah, that is a positive. Yeah. Because everybody I'm looking at here seems to have been killed. What about Jackson Howard Johnson? Oregon. Bryce Foster.
Also available. They're both available. I mentioned those names. They're both available.
Oh, okay. Just simply because of the type of offense the Falcons tend to run. Let's go with the guy I'm a little bit better on here. I'll go with Drake Nugent if he's available.
I have a 5th on him, but he's the Michigan center. 6'1", 300. You want Drake Nugent? All right.
Yeah, I'm on Nugent and Newport.
All right. Damn it, the Chargers took Kyrie Jackson. That's who I was going to trade up for. Kyrie Jackson, the Oregon corner that's a baller in press coverage. The Chargers didn't Charger for once. Chop Robinson, Graham Barton, Cole Bishop, Kyrie Jackson. The Chargers have had a strong draft. They haven't chargered in the draft through 4 rounds yet. Were you expecting them to charger at least once?
At least once, yes. At least when it comes to my draft with the Falcons, I think for the next 2-3 years. Chargers usually on their draft. They just kind of go with it. I know what my dad is. The Chargers usually don't know what they're drafting. So I am surprised a little bit by the Chargers.
Yeah,
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's the AI. Maybe Tom Telesco should take notes on what the AI is doing for the Chargers in this draft. But the Colts are up at 112. Top player on the board is Wisconsin running back Braylon Allen. I mean, he'd be a good replacement for Zach Moss, even though you have Jonathan Miller as your starter. The other running backs, Evan Hull, the running back he took in the 5th round last year, suffered a season-ending injury. Zach Moss is a UFA. You could reload at running back with Braylon Allen on a rookie deal. Could also get Devontae Walker, a Kent State receiver that transferred to North Carolina and has asserted himself as Drake May's number 1. TJ Tampa's also there if you want a corner. Yeah, you took Cooper DeJean, but yet, but you haven't on the second corner.
A couple positions I have been battling with here, and that's where is the best place to add more weapons for Richardson. So looking. Couple guys I like they'd be but they're not in a place that would like to take them. Did you say the wide receivers were on your end?
The top receiver on the simulator is Devontae Walker. He is Drake May's number 1 at North Carolina. Went to Kent State last year. You also have Moose Muhammad, Brendan Rice, still on the board. Anis Smith still on the board. But it feels a little too early to take those guys. You have Calhoun there. Luke McCaffrey's available. There's a bunch of players available.
Walker is not available on my board, so I'll go ahead and I'll take him.
All right, Devontae Walker, North Carolina is the pick. Who the heck is up? Because I'm going to try to propose a trade here between the Saints and the Bills, because I already took Corum, offer a 3rd and 147 for 114. I mean, offer a 3rd and 179 for 114. So, and the Saints are on the clock now. I've just made a trade with the Bills, and I'm going to take Braylon Allen, running back Wisconsin. I think it's a good replacement for I think Braylon Allen could be a guy who steps in and replaces Kamara. He's good in pass protection, so we're going to get him here in the 4th round. Just a really good value pick here for New Orleans. And right now, the best player on the board is Mekhi Wingo. Jonah Ellis, the defensive end we discussed earlier, is also still there. 49ers get Zach Zinter, Mekhi Wingo, Johnny Dixon. Jonah Ellis is a Giant. And you are up at 124. Jackson Powers Johnson is there. I'm center. Yeah, you took Drake Nugent at 106. But the thing with Jackson Powers Johnson is they both guard spots as well as center. So if you took.
That's something we talked about earlier. That's one of the reasons that he would still be there, because what I'm trying to do with the Falcons draft is create facilities. We know they have linemen that could do the job and set up for the future.
Yep.
So that's the same thing here, because I do believe that they will, if they don't, their guards are pretty good, but I think they can be upgraded. And I also think the center can be upgraded, which is why I consider before. But those guys that can do multiple things, I'll go with Johnson. Because that will complete the interior of that Falcons offensive line and make sure they have stability.
Smart pick. The Vikings. I do have 130. I do have 147 with the Saints. Michael Pratt. The Lions draft a second quarterback. I don't know what the heck they're doing. Jordan Birch goes to the Browns. I'm looking at what's available here. Josh Simmons, Luke Leachy, Antoine Wells, Cam Hart, Jaheim Bell. I could take Tyler Van Dyke. I'm going to go with Cade Stover, get my second tight end. I could go with Bryce Foster and develop him for a year behind David Andrews as well. Yeah, I'll do that, and I'm going to trade up with the Cardinals for Stover because Patriots are losing 3 tight ends to free agents, and Stover is just incredible value this late in the draft. So I'll give up a 4th next year and a 7th next year for 131. All right, we'll try the Giants. I don't know if this will we have to throw in 197 as well as a 7th. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to pick. My Cade Stover, now I have 2 tight ends. I have Stover and Sanders as weapons for Drake May. I think it's worth it. I still have a first rounder next year, but I'm basically banking on this class and my free agents to build the Patriots into contenders. And I'm only doing this with my team, the Patriots. I'm not going to be doing this with other teams next week. Don't worry. Well, actually, next week, Thanksgiving, there's no teams on buys in week 12, so we don't have to do it. We don't have to do this next week. Pretty much next week, all we have to do is maybe a few segments. I mean, really. So it's like next week will be a very smooth sailing type show. Defensive tackles, and then maybe we talk about some MLS playoff games and some NFL playoff games in Ohio State, Michigan. We limit it to like 4 topics because I want to be done by noon if possible. Falcons and Falcons play the Falcons are up at 137. Joey, you're back on deck. Donovan Edwards is there if you want running back depth. Luke Leachy is there if you want tight end depth, and Dante Corleone, who's been one of your favorites, 37.
Oh, he is there?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's there on my end too, so I want it. He was there on my end too, so I was just waiting to see if he was there.
Yep. Omar Spites goes to the Commanders. Curtis Jacobs, Cam Hart, the Broncos. Josh Simmons, the Bengals. Tyler Davis is also still available. I mean, now that I've addressed most of the core positions on offense for my Patriots, I can focus on defense. Now, pretty much. Colts are up at 143. Don, what if you have not drafted a running back for depth? Donovan Edwards is a massive bargain this late at 143. Because you don't even need him as your starter. He'd be your Zach Boss replacement. Michigan running back Donovan Edwards, the backup to Corum. He's a massive bargain in round 5. He should not still be on the board.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. Okay, I'll take Tim. Let's see. The Colts are going to need a replace for Moss. So let's go that route.
Yep. The Saints, they have Braylon Allen, Troy Franklin, J.J. McCarthy. I'm just looking at the options available. These are not great options. I do like Clemson's Tyler Davis. Did I accidentally zoom out? Oh crap! What the heck did I do? I accidentally zoomed in entirely. So I have to scroll all the way. Yeah, if you were on the live stream, you'd be roasting me so hard by now, just looking at how badly I screwed up the. So I'm just going to pick the best player on the board. I'm not even going to make any more trades because it's late in the draft. I screwed this up beyond repair. I did. Accidentally zoomed in and I screwed this up beyond repair. I did. I screwed this up. It's like it's in screen, but it's like I can't zoom out. I'm gonna have to I'm probably gonna have to set up a third stream after this. It's just like because if I I'm probably gonna have to start a third stream after this. 153. We're still. Oh wait, the thing paused. Nope, pause. If we're not picking, just pick. This is just bad. It's like Theo Johnson. The Jaguars take Tyler Van Dyke. Sturdivant, Monty Bailey, running back, to use a Raven. Jake Bringenstool, tight end, Clemson. Mike Sainristel, Michigan, is the Vikings. Tyler Barron is a Brown. Luke Leitchie is a Raheem Bell is a Panther. Anthony Belton is a Giant. And the Patriots are up at 164. I can't even see the board here. Look, I get it. You hate the Patriots. At least have the board. Tyler Davis is still there. That's a bargain in round 6, so obviously I'm going to pick Tyler Davis for my Patriots. So Jack Howell goes to the Bills. Jasheen Davis goes to the Commanders. Jalen Carley's Missouri goes to the Eagles. Bo Limmer. And the Chargers at 173 get Darian Chestnut, LSU. And Javian Cohen of Miami goes to Jermaine Burton is the best player on the board. I'm not sure if I should pick him. He did get a touchdown in Texas, though. Dwayne Carter. I've seen all these guys on tape. Carter, Duke, I've seen tight end. All these players have impressed me to a point. I'm just going to take Burton. He is the best player on the board. Nazir Stackhouse is still there. I had a third on him. Why is he still there? Yeah, I'll take him, and I'll take Nazir Stackhouse. He is way too low. Like on the other simulator, he's a third rounder. On this one, he's way too low, in my opinion. So I'll take him. And the Colts are up at 178, and they also have pick 182. But the best player on the board is Jermaine Burton. I wish I could zoom out. I don't know. I don't know how to zoom out. And if I try, I'm going to end up reloading the simulator. So, yeah, best player on the board is Jermaine Burton. You have Dwayne Carter, Duke defensive tackle, Dallas Hooker. Jason Marshall is there, but Florida gave up 600 yards to LSU. I would not take Marshall, but if you want him, he's there. Fentel Cypress II's there. Carson Steele's there. Tyke Smith is there. Keith Randolph is there. Illinois tackle. Ray Davis is there. I don't know what you want here at 178, but 78, and you've got 180, and you've got 182 with Atlanta. So you've got 2 of the next 5 picks, Joey. Ashton Gillott, the 10-sack edge rusher from Louisville's there. Good value, too, by the way. I have a 4th on him. You can get him pretty late here in the 6th.
Yeah, I'm looking at several players here, and I'm judging whether I can get them with the last pick that the Colts had. So, couple guys I like, but not. I don't think they're worth it at this pick. You already took Stackhouse.
Yeah. My strategy was to get as many pieces to create an offensive identity for Drake May as possible, even if it means giving up most of my 2025 picks outside of my first rounders, because, hey, if I hit on all those picks, I don't have to spend as much money when I have $500 million in 2026, and I'll have more draft picks by then, too. So that's why I was really aggressive with my draft for Patriots.
My strategy for the Colts has been to solidify their interior and get as many solid guys to support what they're building as possible. And is any chance Brendan Wright still available?
Let's find out. I mean, Jermaine Burton is there. Click on the receivers. Jermaine Burton, Cowing, Brendan Rice is there. I'll click on Rice.
Okay, let's get Brendan Rice, an explosive guy who try to solidify the special teams
and the Browns take Jermaine Burton and the Cardinals take Jason Marshall. You are up. Top player on the board is Dwayne Carter, D-tackle Duke. It's the top player on the board for the Falcons. Dallas Hooker, Colorado State tight end, is also there. Jacob Cowing, Arizona, is the 3rd best player on the board. I mean, these are guys you're considering, but you're not giving serious to at this point. So, like, is there a certain player you...
the Falcons were a team, I was just like, okay, let's set up for the future, get some solid guys that are going to fill some holes, to build around. I got the quarterback of the future. I got a center for them. I got a center guard to make sure we have the future interior line set up, because I know they also have a couple good guards already. So we got the offensive line set. Defensive tackles that are going to be able to develop into the core of that defense, as well as probably one of the top 2-3 linebackers in the draft. So that core of the defense should be set.
I think every button of us took a QB except the Colts. But the Colts have Richardson. They don't really need that And they still have Sam Ellinger on the rookie deal for one more year, so they don't need a backup. It's not an immediate need, even though there are QBs.
Yeah.
Even though we were at the point in the draft where you could look for an upgrade for Ellinger if you don't want to pay him past this next season.
I'm at the point in the draft that I'm going to just take a guy I think has high upside. Is Peyton Wilson still there? NTK.
Let me find out. Let's find out. Yeah, he's there.
Okay, Chip.
All right.
That should set up the linebacker position and help solidify that the next few years.
Alan Holker goes to the Browns to replace Harrison Bryant, Moose Muhammad, Jack Nelson, and the Saints are up after the Raiders like Jack Nelson. I'm just going to take Dwayne Carter because I don't like how the screen just zoomed out. Round 7, last round here. Jacob Cowing, Jalen Simpson, Carson Steele's a Raider. The Texans take Anis value pick for DeMeco Ryans, Nick Randolph Jr., Tyler Warren to Carolina, Jamon Dumas Johnson, Titan, Colby Young's a Viking. Ben Bywater is a Justin Egoboki. I really don't like any of my options left. I'm going to look at the edge and safety positions and see if there's Jack Sawyer's still there. He no business being on the board this late. Jack Sawyer, you're coming to New Orleans. Brady Cook is a Buccaneer. Jaden Davis goes to Baltimore. Delmar Glaze. Sounds like something at Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts. Delmar Glaze.
Nice. That might have been one of your better jokes that you've come up with. I like it.
Colin Castles. They're up at 209.
Okay, so I'm on my last hit.
Yep.
Go with your upside here. It's a guy I think if he gets his weight down, he could be a really productive NFL player. But he's way too heavy. He's got to lose at least 20 pounds for his position. And I'm going to go with Jalen Conyers, tight end, Arizona State. He's about 270 pounds.
Yeah, to Jalen Conyers, Arizona State. I got it.
Really good. You there?
Yeah, I got it. Jalen Conyers. Kenny Logan Jr. is a Texan. Lathan Ransom, also a Texan. MJ Devonshire's a Raider. The Cowboys take Graham Mertz in the 7th round as their Cooper Rush replacement. Tolini. Thomas Yasmin, Utah tight end, is the Browns' 7th round pick. Trickwize Bridges. Jay Stanley, Southern Miss safety. Ruben Fothery, the second's a Dolphin. Jaden Thomas. Braden Fisk, Florida State. Jalen Wright, Tennessee. And the Chiefs select Jaquan Shepard with the Mr. Relevant pick. So Jaquan Shepard is Mr. Relevant. Recapping Joey's draft: Trotter, Daniels, Vincent, Corleone, Peyton Wilson, really addressing a lot of key areas. I'd give that an A. Colts, Cooper DeJean, McKinley.
I wasn't really what they created. So that was really my thought on this draft and how I did it. I thought I did a good job with what I was given with what the key is, but I didn't like it as much as it would have been if the team itself had a different makeup and a different coach at this point.
Yep. Cooper DeJean.
You know
Yeah, I hear you. Jackson McKinley. I'd give the Colts draft a B+. I thought you got really good value when you got it. Patriot draft, I went all in with the Patriots because I'm thinking, okay, if we get Drake May, we've got to draft some good players around May, or otherwise it's going to be a disaster. So 2 of my top 3 tight ends in the entire draft. Very offensive-heavy draft, but Bryce Foster can learn under David Andrews for a year and then take over at center. Corum can be a change of pace back in year 1 and then take over for Stevenson in year 2. And then you have Tyler Davis at defensive tackle. So this was my Patriots draft was very, and we also got Stackhouse. So we got Davis as a 34 defensive end for depth and Stackhouse as a nose tackle for depth. So my draft was very offensive heavy. I did ignore some needs in the secondary, but hey, with the money we have and all these guys on rookie deals, I think the Patriots are going to be set to be competitive for years to come.
I really like your pay draft. I give it an A-. I thought that if I would have loved for the Falcons to have to make up this Patriots did, because I think you had far more options, and you did a very good job with your options. But I also think you had more needs, so you. I think one with some of the better.
Yeah, because I figured we got to get some good players around Drake May. We get Jordan Morgan, Jatavian Sanders, Xavier Legette, Blake Corum, Bryce Foster, and then Stover as a tight end too. That gives this offense an identity. We can keep Juju and Parker as stopgaps. We can keep Demario Douglas and Tyquan Thornton as stopgaps, but adding the pieces we added gives the Patriots an identity long term. And that was the goal.
And let's face it, I said before the season, I did like the Patriots defense, but I thought their offense was horrendous. They have proven that this year. You did a very good job of completely rebuilding the majority of that offense while adding pieces to the defense that you may not have rebuilt the defense, but you helped them out a little bit with a young offense. And I really like that strategy and how you were able to.
Well, the thought process is let's just go all in on the 2024 draft and accumulate as much offensive talent as possible, and then we'll use $205 million in 2026, $515 million to rebuild our defense we have. That's why I had no issue with mortgaging my 2025 picks.
I don't even think the defense needs rebuilding.
It doesn't. If Judon and Christian Gonzalez are healthy, it doesn't need rebuilding.
Yeah, so I think you did a great job with it.
Yep. I appreciate that. And then wrapping it up as the Saints. I mean, this team, Franklin, McCarthy, Braylon Allen, Joshua Gray at guard, Dwayne Carter, Jack Sawyer. My options were limited. So, yeah, I'm going to zoom out of the screen share because I didn't like the fact that the screen share zoomed in. And I'm just seeing, is there a way to actually because it's not that I don't like the screen share, it's that I don't like the fact that the screen share is zooming in. Is there any way to zoom out? Let's type this zoom out. I would give this anywhere from a C to a D minus, which averages out to a D plus.
I think you're handicapped by that, and so I give you a little leeway on there because probably couldn't do as much as you wanted to. So I'd give this a solid B, maybe a B plus, because you added what you could. You may not have been able to add contact players that are there. So, and for anybody who thinks that contracts don't matter when drafting, you're out of your freaking mind. Because contracts definitely do matter. So I think you were hamstrung a little bit. But I think you did a good job with what you had. So I think it could have been better, yes, but I don't think it could have been that much better.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a good DB plus on that one. Because I think you did a good job with what you had.
Yeah.
Which was difficult at best. So nice job on that one.
Thank you. Much appreciated. I'm going through, okay, so we got 2 game previews, and then I will reveal my College Cup predictions and then the NFL predictions. So the first game preview, it's going to start at 2, is Appalachian State James Madison. Jalen Green, who leads the country in sacks, is out today. I mean, this is going to be an interesting game. Appalachian State's lost some talent to the NFL draft, and I think James Madison takes care of business. James Madison Dukes just have a lot of depth on the edge. It's unfortunate they couldn't get a bowl game, though.
I think for a Division 2 game, this is going to be a great game.
FBS game. Division 2 game. Appalachian State versus James Madison. They're both FBS teams in the Sun Belt. They're both Sun Belt teams, but it feels like a Division 2 game because they both used to be smaller schools.
I forgot that they both got boosted up. But it does feel like a Division 2 game, yes. Even though both teams got boosted up a couple years ago, I've always seen both of them as a D2 team. But I still think it's going to be a competitive game. And I think both teams have a couple prospects for the NFL draft that are going to be on display. And I hope, my only hope for this game is that the prospects for both teams come out and really show what they're made of. Because this may be the biggest game they keep playing all year. So I hope they come out. I hope they.
Yeah, indeed. So looking at the game, I'm looking at Appalachian State. I'm looking at the game film. Appalachian Madison edge rushers are good. That's a big reason why I took them to win. And, Sun Belt Conference, it's a big game. James Madison's undefeated. I think Appalachian State's done respectable at 6-4 despite losing some pieces to the NFL draft. And Nick Kidwell at offensive line is a player to keep an eye out for James Madison. They also have Taurus Jones, Isaac Ukulu, James Carter. They have bodies on this defense. Appalachian State has Isaiah Helms at center. That was really their only preseason first-team player, and Damian Daly at left guard. They do have Chase Bryce. No, they don't have Chase Bryce. Last year they had Chase Bryce. They have Ryan Berger, a freshman quarterback. I don't know if he's a true freshman or a red, but Ryan Berger is the quarterback. No affiliation to the Good Burger 2 movie that's going to be airing on Paramount Plus later this year. And then you got a lot of experienced players on this offensive line. You got a lot of big bodies in the front 7, players in the secondary. I like James Madison. Kurt Signetti's done a great job with that team. Unfortunately, you can't get them unless you get ESPN Plus, you're not going to get that game. The other signature game tonight is Washington and Oregon State, the Huskies versus the Beavers. what's going on with Huskies and Beavers. It's at Corvallis. It's a last big test for Michael Penix Jr., but the chess match is going to be Michael Penix versus Omar. Well, Omar Speights is on LSU now. He's no longer on Oregon State. So this a bit, but Oregon State plays really well at home. And, this could be a trap game for Washington tonight. We'll see. Because Oregon State trolls their own destiny, Joey. They get Washington at home, and then they get Oregon on the road in the Civil War on Friday. If they win both of those games, Oregon would have 2 conference losses. Oregon State would have 2 conference losses. Washington would have 1 conference loss, and Oregon State would own a tiebreaker. So, Nick 12 champion. If they, it's very improbable that they pull that off, but it's not unlikely. I think it's a long shot, but I don't think it's entirely impossible. If Oregon State can win these next 2 games, they're in the Pac-12 title, and that's pretty much going to kill the Pac-12's chances of making the college football playoff before their conference dissolves. Really, Oregon State's like a computer virus at this point. And that's not to be disrespectful towards Oregon State. Like, this is the Pac-12's last year before the conference dissolves. And basically, if Oregon State wins out, it's going to ruin the Pac-12's chances of making the playoff. So that's why I say the Oregon State Beavers are like a computer virus at this point. I know it's not the most appropriate pun, but that's really where we're at with Oregon State. I mean, ukulele.
It's a tricky situation because the Pac-12 has had a great year. They're going out. And I think they're proving that. Any team that has no game, well, we're looking at Smith because Pac-12 has been really good, and I hope their last game is in the playoffs.
Yeah. Definitely, because you got a lot of exciting games. Next week you have the game, Michigan, Ohio State, Ann Arbor at noon. So last 2 topics are going to be college. I like the Huskies to win tonight, though. But, you can't rule out the Beavers. I'm going to quickly look up the College Cup brackets, quickly give you my bracketology insight here, and give you a brief overview of what could happen. And then after that, it's NFL, and then we're pretty much done with today. Okay, I guess the screen turned off. But it's like, all right, so come on, give us the brackets, or the brackets. Really, NCAA should not take this long to load NCAA. It doesn't take this long to load the NCAA college soccer stuff on my phone. I was going to show the visuals for that. Because this is a really tough bracket. The bracket Marshall got dealt, a really tough bracket. I think whoever comes out of that's going to win the championship, because you got probably the toughest bracket I've ever seen in all my years of covering college soccer. You've got Marshall, you've got Stanford, you've got Clemson, you've got Syracuse, Syracuse won last year's shit title, and the year before that, you had Clemson win the College Cup. So you have Clemson, Stanford, only team to three-peat in college soccer. So you have Stanford, Syracuse, Clemson, New Hampshire. You have Charlotte. You have a really tough bracket. I mean, you have a really tough bracket. That's a really tough bracket to get through. I kind of want to show the visuals here, and then I promise we'll get to NFL predictions and we'll call it a day, because I'm at that point where I do want to call it a day. I mean, when I pull all-nighters the day before the podcast, I basically try to get as much content up on the site as possible because, you know, we got 16 games next week in. Okay, you know what? I'm going to try something else. I'm going to, instead of using freaking Chrome, I'm going to use either DuckDuckGo or the Brave browser. I will put this on there. See if that works. I'm not saying it will. I'm saying let's try it and see what happens. And if it doesn't work on the Brave browser, we'll try it on DuckDuckGo. That's why you can't be dependent on one server. All right, here we go. We gonna load. There we go. Perfect. Window and share. Screen share the Brave browser, please. So basically, Marshall's in the same bracket as Missouri State, Stanford, Clemson, Charlotte, Syracuse, and New Hampshire. That bracket's going to be tough. I mean, Marshall, Stanford, Syracuse, and Clemson. I think whoever comes out of that is going to win the tournament. I mean, West Virginia and Georgetown are really the two tough teams in the bottom bracket. But again, the top bracket is tough. I think the right bracket's the bracket with the most parity. If North Carolina doesn't win that bracket, at Portland, Florian's favorite college, or Oregon State, maybe Denver or number 2 ranked SMU. Neither Denver or SMU won their conference. Remember, Denver lost to a 3-win team in their conference tournament, but they did beat Long Island to get to the round of 32. And then you have Virginia playing Florida International tomorrow. You have Indiana playing Wake Forest. That's a big game. That's a big game because whoever wins that game could go on a run in this bracket. Duke plays Western Michigan, and Kentucky plays Notre Dame. Florian called this the ACC bracket. He's not wrong. He's just disgusted by the fact that there's so many ACC team bracket, one portion of the bracket. He's not wrong. I mean, it's like, and the finals are going to be in Louisville, Kentucky instead of Cary, North Carolina. But I've got the winner of Marshall versus Clemson, Indiana in the finals, Joey. That's my prediction. I mean, Indiana's just getting at the right time, and sometimes that's all it comes down to when it comes to picking these college soccer games. Oh, here we go. We got the screen share up. Perfect. But yeah, Marshall should beat Cal Baptist and Stanford. I think Syracuse beats New Hampshire, and we get a Syracuse-Clemson Sweet 16. I think West Virginia and Georgetown are on a path to the Elite Eight. I like the Mountaineers over the Hoyas. I think they end up in the College Cup. They're going to beat Forest, and then they're going to go on a run, and they're going to beat all the ACC teams. They're going to beat Virginia. They're going to beat Duke. They're going to beat Notre Dame, whoever comes out of the Duke Notre Dame region in the Elite Eight. I mean, it's not going to be an easy path for Indiana, knowing they got to go through 3 ACC teams. Might be too big of a path. Portland, I was rooting for SIU Edwardsville. They had 0 losses, and their goalie had 10 shutouts, but then they lose to Memphis in the round of 48. I mean, I'm a Duke fan. I don't really like the Tar Heels personally, so like, I don't hate the Tar Heels, but like, I'm not rooting for them to win their bracket. I'm not rooting for Yale. I'm kind of rooting for either SMU, Denver, or Portland. I mean, Florian's favorite college is Portland, and they did lose to Pitt in the Elite Eight last year. So really, that's really why I'd be pulling for Portland, but it looks like North Carolina is probably going to win this region of the bracket if I had to make an education. Years we've had, each last 3 years actually, Joey, we've had 2 ACC teams in the Final Four. I think we could get 3 this year because Clemson, it just depends. Like, honestly, I think Marshall or Clemson, whoever wins that, we could get 3. If Clemson or Syracuse can beat Marshall in the Elite Eight, I think we could get 3 if an ACC team knocks out Indiana. But it's wait and see at this point. The college soccer games start tomorrow at 2, and tomorrow at 1. So and once I finish coding week 12 in the NFL, I am going to update my MLS mock draft. So keep an eye out on that. The 2024 MLS mock drafts are always fun to do. All right, prediction time, Joey. Prediction time. Last segment on Talk Shoe, last segment on our show, and then we're calling it a day. Cowboys play the Panthers.
You had great timing because I just got out of a very loud area that I had you on mute on, so great timing on your part.
Well, I was just breaking down some of the College Cup matches, but whatever, it is what it is. They're fun to.
That's even better timing.
Yeah, because while you had me on mute.
Yeah, you timed that up incredibly well with my walk. So, great
telekinesis. I'm not Charles Xavier from the X-Men, no matter how much you want me to be. Yeah, if Patrick Stewart were here, he'd be like, "It's all right, my child." But anyway.
Patrick Stewart would be proud.
Yep. Everybody on Draft Utopia took the Cowboys over the Panthers. I've got Dallas winning 27-13, and I've never done.
So we do it. My question, though, is for both teams, how are the quarterbacks going to do? Because I just spoke about Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but Kenny Pickett has been axed through 3 9/10 quarters, but every time within the last 2 minutes of every freaking game, 2 to 4 minutes, he is like a different player. Totally different player. He comes alive in ways that you would never expect for a player that is complete ass for the rest of the game. And then he ends up leading teams to win. So I want to see both of these quarterbacks, no matter who wins or loses, which I do not ever want the Steelers to win anything because that means they have a chance to win the division, and I'm tired of seeing them win the division.
I think they're gonna end up winning the division because of their strength, because they get the Bengals without Joe Burrow. I think that's gonna be the difference. I think they'll win the division because they get the Bengals without Joe Burrow twice. I think that'll end up being the difference, and they'll end up winning the division because of that.
It may be because they do play the Bengals twice, I believe.
Without Burrow. That's a handicap, in my opinion. So
It is. It is. And I do, the Steelers seem to get at least one handicap every year, and I don't like that either. But I think it may come down to the quarterback. They need both teams have great defenses.
I do have the Steelers winning 20-17 in overtime. So I do have this game going to overtime. The over-under in this is 37.5. I have the under barely occurring. And, it's a split decision game. Wes, Tracy, Lisa, Jason, Oren, and Tanya all took the Steelers.
I think it's been a close game. I agree with you. You have a rookie quarterback first start where you have a quarterback that's underachieved in every way except for the last 4 minutes, where he only becomes Tom Brady. That playing for the Steelers, it's going to be an interesting game because you also have two of the best defenses in the league. So someone's going to have to give. Someone's going to have to give, and I think it'll be a good game. I'm taking the Browns to come out on top, but it can go either way if I'm being objective about it. And that's something you said subjectively, that it can go either way, based on the fact you've got them going into overtime, and the staff has it's almost a split decision. So I think that says a lot about these two teams and the competitiveness of the AFC North. And if any of these teams are left standing, which is debatable, at the end of the year, we'll see who comes out on top.
Yep.
So I predicted after last week's games, or after Thursday night's game actually, that all these teams would beat each other in the tape before the playoffs. So the team that ended up making the playoffs, those teams may end up being a global pace, but end up being kicked into that position.
Yep.
And there may be nothing left for their opponents to do except for
West's predictions. So I correctly guessed 12 of the 14 West was going to pick. I official pick morning. I just rose. So Bears and Lions in Detroit. I do have the Lions winning, but I'm going to tell you guys, the Bears are going to cover the spread. The spread for this game is you have the Bears. So is Nate Davis. This is going to be the first game all year. Bears all with Fields. Because remember that Tevin Jenkins and Nate Davis were both on IR in camp preseason. So this is the first game where the Bears offensive line, Justin Fields, are both at full health. I have the winning 44. Spread is 7.5. So I have the Bears earning this and losing by only 7. Because the spread's 7.5, Joey. If you want to bet on the Lions to cover the spread, you're basically picking them in by 8 or more. I think the Lions only win by 7. So I have the Lions winning, but I do have the Bears covering the spread as underdogs. But that doesn't change the fact that the Lions are a lock on Draftopia this week. Justin Fields can play all the Lion King music he wants in order to relax. That's not going to stop him. That's not going to stop Dan Campbell from getting some big plays when it matters, and that's ultimately going to be the difference in this contest. I noticed Joey just disconnected. You there, man? I mean, Chargers-Packers is a pretty big game. I'm going to move on to that game. I'm hoping Joey calls back in so we can debate that game. Okay, you're back. Awesome. Everybody at Draft Utopia took the Bears. Chargers-Packers. This is a game.
Recording paused.
Really, Talk Shoe? It's like right when one is behaving, the other one is misbehaving. But yeah. The Chargers and Packers go. I took the Chargers in this one, but at least the Packers and her thought process was pretty simple. The Packers are deeper than corner than we expect. Yeah, they don't have Jair Alexander. They don't have Eric Stokes. It's not the best situation. Keyshawn Nixon was a defensive captain. You have Carrington Valentine's really impressed me on film heading into the draft at Kentucky, and he's the reason the Packers traded Rasul Douglas to the Bills. Also, their nickel corner is Robert Rochelle, the gut corner we both liked out of Central Arkansas. He's now the Packers' nickel corner until Jair Alexander and Eric Stokes come back next week. And the Chargers have injuries. Keenan Allen is out. Josh is out. Gerald is out. And Donald Park is out. And they cut Trey McKitty. Chargers charging on offense. They're going to have to rely on their rookies. They're going to have to rely on both rookies, Joey, at both wide receiver. And you're going to have to rely on both rookies at wide receiver and Darius Davis and Quentin Johnston. That's literally the Chargers' game plan to victory, is to rely on the rookie receivers. I don't think you're as confident in it at all. But you and Lisa both picked the Packers. Everybody else on the site took the Chargers. I've got the Chargers winning 20-16. I don't think Herbert's going to score more than 20 points on the Packers with these rookie weapons and with all the injuries at wide receiver and tight end the Chargers have. I just don't. You want to explain why you took the Packers?
Yeah, my thought process was I'm looking at the injuries, and I'm looking at the Packers. I think the Packers defense is in better shape to win the team than the Chargers offense. Now, that is an interesting scenario because Packers defense this year has not been in a good position to win any game or any season. So, and my thought process was this is the one time the Packers defense has a chance to shot. And have offense, the only thing they don't have to do is the same thing they've had a problem with all year. Don't turn the ball over. Okay? So it's the same problem the Bills had. Don't turn the ball over. If they don't turn it over for one game, I think the Packers can make a major upset here. But I think this is the first time that the Packers defense has had an opportunity to really take advantage of another team.
Recording started.
It's already gone offense.
Yep, and there are some games going on. Miami does lead Louisville at halftime. But yeah, you made a great point. Packers, they do have defensive personnel to match up with the Chargers with their playmakers injured, even though the Packers are dinged up on the secondary. But Cardinals and Texans, this game was not a lock on Draft Utopia, Joey. Jesse Lucas took the Cardinals in the upset. Everybody else has the Texans winning. I've got the Texans winning 34-17. I think this is a blowout. Yeah, and, I like what Kyler Murray did. I want to briefly touch on what Kyler Murray Kyler Murray was taking accountability last week against the Falcons when Trey McBride got open, but he couldn't get him the ball. He was reading 4 out of 6 progressions, which is the most progressions I've seen Kyler Murray make. And he basically, he's showing the leadership you wanted to see from him. So Kyler's really showing the leadership you wanted to see from him, which is good. So from this point forward, I will refrain from making any Call of Duty Kyler Murray jokes, and I'm hoping Joey joins me on this map quest and does the same by refraining from Kyler Murray jokes. Because I feel like he earned it.
Call of Duty has been asked this year, from what I've heard from everybody who's played it. But at the same time, I'm looking at it. I've got to look at it objectively. And objectively is, will they go ahead and will you play regardless?
Because Kyler Murray.
I don't know.
That's the thing. Kyler Murray, 4 out of 6 progressions. You're not used to seeing that from him. You're used to seeing one read, take off, and run. He's making up to 4 progressions on some of his completions, which is awesome. And he's also taking accountability when the team does something wrong, which is what you wanted to see from Kyler when he got paid. But maybe Cliff Kingsbury was the problem. Maybe this new coaching staff was the right fit for Murray, and maybe Cliff Kingsbury was the problem. That could very easily be the case.
Nobody's going to doubt that, because Cliff Kingsbury was, after Matt Rule got fired, he was the worst head coach in football. I'm not just talking NFL, I'm talking all of football. So maybe that was the problem. But it's going to be his play on the field that's going to determine my thought process.
Yep.
And he did have a good showing last week. I'm not going to poo-poo that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give him credit where credit's due.
Yep. There were 6 locks on draft.
The Cardinals, as a whole, though, the Cardinals are not a good team. And that I think, no matter how good the quarterback is, we've seen years where some of the best quarterbacks in NFL history have had great years, and their team went nowhere. I don't think Kyler Murray is that caliber of quarterback, and it'd be difficult for him to win a game.
I agree.
And FYI, I am watching the Michigan Maryland game right now. So
that's on Fox. Jacksonville plays the Titans. The Jaguars are favored by 6.5. Everyone on the staff is taking the Jaguars. I think this is the first time all year everyone on the staff has picked the Jaguars to win. So this is the first Jaguars lock of the season. It took us 11 weeks, but we finally have a Jaguars lock on draft. Any of Joey's friends that are listening to this podcast who are Jaguars fans are happy. But we finally got a Jaguar lock after 11 weeks. We have another lock in the last 1 p.m. game between the Raiders and the Dolphins. Everybody took the Dolphins as expected. Brandon Jones is going to be back at free safety. Achane is going to be back at running back. But the Dolphins still have injuries at guard. Left guard Isaiah Wynn's out another week. Robert Hunt, the starting right guard, is out. And Robert Jones, the backup right guard, is out. So Lester Cotton and Liam Eichenberg are going to be starting at guard. But that's not problematic against the Raiders. Like, against the Jets, that might be problematic because the Jets do have really good defensive tackle and Quentin Williams that can expose the Dolphins' backup guards with quite ease. But, like, against the Raiders, that should not be a problem. The Dolphins are favored by 13.5. I have them barely covering 28-13. Giants and Commanders. Commanders are actually a lock on the site this week, too. I'm not going to dive into too much detail because Tommy DeVito is just awful. 27-9 Commanders.
And here's an interesting stat that I came across. I don't know if it's true or not. You can double check me. Washington's quarterback leads the league at passing yards.
He does. And you're correct about that. And Eric Bieniemy's been phenomenal with him.
Yeah, so, I mean, that there against that defense, that in itself is enough to make me say, you know what? Commanders got their franchise quarterback. Let's move forward.
Yeah, because Jonathan Allen's saying
They're going to be not.
Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne are saying Sam Hubbard's the guy. So yeah.
Yeah.
The
You can tell.
The Buccaneers.
If you lead the NFL in passing yards, you're good.
I think the Commanders have got to fix that offensive line, but if they do and Howell underperforms next year, then you got to move on from him. But right now, he's earned another year. From what we've seen, earned another year. Buccaneers play the Niners in San Francisco, 31-14 Niners. This was a lock on the site. Jets and Bills in Buffalo. I mean, this game, Benford did miss last week. So did Micah Hyde. Everybody except you and Tracy took the Bills. You and Tracy took the Jets. The rest of our staff has the Bills winning this. I've got the Bills winning this 28-20. I think it's a high-scoring game. I do like the over. The over-under is 40. I like the over in this one. I think we see a lot of points.
I like the Jets defensive tackles, and I like the Jets defensive backfield. And I think those two are going to make the difference. I think they create turnovers, and I think they limit the running game. And if you do that against the Bills, you're probably going to win.
I mean, the scenario, Lisa took the Bills, but she considered the Broncos, and her thought process was if Russell Wilson has no turnovers and Josh Allen shits the bed, literally, then the Broncos can steal this game, and that's exactly what happened. That's the exact scenario that happened on Monday Night Football. I don't think that happens against the Jets, but we'll see. Seahawks and Rams. I like the Seahawks. No, I like the Rams. I'm kidding. That was a joke. I was just fooling the Seattle fans. Aaron Donald. I like the Rams 24-21. Most of our staff does have Seattle. Tanya, Jesse, and Lisa took the Rams. You got the Seahawks. But both defenses are fully healthy, and both teams have 0 injuries heading into this game. So these are the two healthiest NFC teams at the moment. The Seahawks and Rams. Big for both teams.
I think
They're getting him back. Got it in week tomorrow. So, yeah. He is questionable at the moment, but they are expected to get him back. Did you actually? That's so the Vikings play the Broncos. I've for the show. I think this. I took the Broncos. Healthy. 0 games with 3 yards season. Josh Duff won the Saints, and I did put Dobbs as a cover photo last. watch. For I was because both teams are defensive. The Vikings have Davenport, and the Broncos defense has been play by Mahomes, and with the Denver. So for that reason, I think it's going to be a close game, 21. Even though the Broncos are favored by 2.5, most of our staff 7 out of 11, including Joey and Dobbs. I process because Dobbs has a 300-yard game on his resume. Russell Wilson doesn't. So I don't blame the thought process of picking the Vikings over the Broncos. But I took the Broncos just because of their defense.
I give credit to Sean Payton because he has got that team as the season goes on. I do believe this team does need a teardown on the defensive side and build up. But he's got that offense playing really well, and that defense is starting to come along. I think they'll have a game or two, but he's got that offense playing really well right now. But at the same time, Josh Dobbs, like or not, he's submitting himself as a starter, high-end backup in the NFL. And he's taking advantage of he's getting. And right now, he's playing at the Vikings have the momentum. I think the Vikings are, right now, they're pointing upward, where the Broncos, they're holding even. And I think it's only a matter of time until that defense comes down. But I think the Vikings they're trending upward, and they're doing it without their biggest stars on offense. So I'm going to go with the Vikings here.
Yeah. The Eagles and Chiefs in Kansas City, I do like the Chiefs 24-20. Eagles don't have Avonte Maddox at nickel corner, and I don't think they have a viable replacement. I do think that's the weakness. So teams with 2-3 receivers, multiple receiver sets can pick apart the Eagles in the passing game. But you got the right offensive line. You got to have the right personnel. I think the Chiefs had Veach gets another win over Roseman. And, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs defeat the Eagles 24-21. I got the Wes, Brian, Lisa, Jason, and Jesse have the Chiefs. Tanya, Oren, you, Kerm, and Tracy have the Eagles. So it's a split decision, just like last year's Super Bowl. So, yeah. But I think it's more low scoring because the under happened last year. Chiefs are only favored by 2.5, and the over happened in the Super Bowl. So I think the under happens here. And the under is
quarterback in the NFL having as good year as they did last year or 2 years ago. But Patrick Mahomes is still the best out. But the thing is, all the defenses that are supposed to be good have been great. All the defenses.
This is why you have to study the depth charts. This is why you got to study the depth charts, because the depth charts tell you the matchup advantages on both sides of the ball. And because I've studied so many depth charts, just copied and pasted depth chart updates from week 1, and kept track of every single injury from the start of the regular season until now, because I've done, I pretty much take the under on 70% of the over-under bets this year, and it's been about 69-68% under hit. So that's been my secret to correctly picking games, and it's something we're seeing a lot more of.
Wow. Okay. And sorry.
big play.
In this game, that is important, especially, in my opinion, it's the importance of the depth of wide receiver for the Saints, or not for the Saints, for the Chiefs, and the importance of the depth on the defensive line for the Chiefs. Because if they don't have these, they're going to be fighting right into the strength of the Eagles. But they've got good depth there. That's what makes this matchup intriguing.
Yeah, the only player on IR for either team, I mean, if you exclude Avonte Maddox, who's on season-ending IR for the Eagles, the only players on IR for both teams are Nakobe Dean and Nick Bolton. Nakobe Dean for the Eagles, Nick Bolton for the Chiefs. The Eagles have Zach Cunningham as the backup to Nakobe Dean. The Chiefs have Drew Tranquill as the backup to Nick Bolton. So that's really, and both of those guys have been serviceable as backups. So it's not like they're terrible. You know, I like the Chiefs by a field goal, but again, this could go either way.
I think most of those backups could be starters on some teams. So, you know.
I mean, last year Drew Tranquill was Drew Tranquill was a starter on the Chargers. Then he goes to Kansas City as a backup to Nick Bolton. He'll probably get another starting gig next year somewhere else. I would think, because with all the games he's played for when Bolton was injured, he's got enough on his resume to say, I'm a viable starter somewhere. So I would think he's going to start somewhere next year.
I do as well. So I don't think there is a drop-off at those positions, but I don't think it's much.
Yeah.
So I think these two are as close to full strength as they're going to get. And this may be as close to a Super Bowl match as we're going to get this season.
Yeah. Yeah, but the AFC West is to play the AFC North 2024, and the Chiefs get the Ravens and Bengals at home. They get the Steelers and Browns on the road. I think the Chiefs, if they can survive the gauntlet of the AFC North, they'll be the 1 seed probably once again in 2024 because their schedule is a lot more favorable compared to this year. And I know you hate to hear that because you want to see some parity, you want to see something new, but the Chiefs' strength of schedule is much more favorable.
I'm not going to argue with it, though, because when you go against the AFC North, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get banged up. And if they come out of that in good standing, I cannot argue one bit with them at top.
Not only that, they're going to get the AFC East and AFC South winner. So if the Dolphins and Texans win the AFC South and East, they avoid playing the Bills or the Texans this season, which means they could win realistically anywhere from 14 to 16 games, depending on how they do against the AFC North. And San Francisco, they get the West champion on the road. So if they get Seattle instead of San Francisco, I think you're looking at anywhere from 14 to 16 wins against, with all their losses coming against the AFC North, because they get Pittsburgh and Cleveland at home, but they get Baltimore and Cincy at home. They get Pittsburgh and Cleveland on the road. So Cleveland, outside of Cleveland, I really don't see a game that is tough or disadvantageous for the Chiefs right now. But it's still early, and it's still early. There's a lot that could happen in the season. There's 8 weeks left. And week of the defensive tackle rankings up, Joey, we'll have week 12. I'll try to make some MLS playoff picks. And next week we got Ohio State, Michigan. I am so excited for that game. But yeah, anything you want to say before we sign off here?
Well, I